The NFL Week 1 kicks off tomorrow night, so let's discuss predictions, a little bit of power rankings. It's football, bro. Let's go ahead, get into this sucker, starting with, of course, the Thursday night matchup. Baltimore Ravens take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Currently, Chiefs are a minus a 3.5, maybe it's 2.5 point favorite. Straight up, I'm going to tell y'all, this is why I bet college. The spreads are way more forgiven. And then, Vegas just they got their ear to the NFL. 46.5 over under. If you need some reminders of some of the guys that will not be active for this game, for instance, Hollywood Brown will not be active. Clyde Edwards-Helaire will not be active. Charles Omenihu is also on the pub. When it comes to the Ravens, Keenan Mitchell, he is on the pup, recovering from that ACL. And Arthur Malat, the slot, he will not be playing in this game, but I think that's A-okay. I think that's fine. The Chiefs just lost in Burrowhead. That's right, I said it. Burrowhead last year to the Lions to open the season. The Ravens, they kind of got to get this chip off their shoulder that we got to beat the Chiefs. Sure, doesn't mean anything here if we can't do it in the postseason, but it starts here, right? That's why I'm semi leaning Ravens plus 3.5. Again, I don't really like the Lions in the NFL, is what it is, but I kind of want to go with the Ravens. Then again, you look at the coaching staff having to replace Mike McDonald, and it's not just that, but you have you got guys on the coaching staff, Denard, you got Anthony Weaver, who all left. However, Zach Orr, quality coach, good coach. I think he's going to do a good job with his defense. And man, Chiefs, they did lose a bit. They did lose a bit. And L'Jarius Sneed, though I feel real comfortable with the Chiefs' ability to coach up the secondary. The secondary coach there in Dave Merritt's done a fabulous job developing these later round picks, whether it's Jalen Watts, Joshua Williams, Byron Cook. They got a new one at safety this year, and who did they take? Jaden Hicks out of Washington State. It's hard to bet against the Chiefs, but the Chiefs also, do they really matter until the postseason? I think I'm going to ride with the Ravens in this one. I think I'm going with the Ravens Thursday night. It's really a toss-up. It's a battle between two different teams. Well, of course, it's always a battle between two different teams, but two good teams. Let's move on. Packers, Eagles. It's going to be in Brazil. Currently, the Eagles are a 3-point favorite. The over and under is set at 48.5. The Packers will be wearing green. I don't know if that'll make them lucky. The Eagles are a very, very good squad. One of the most talent-rich rosters, I would say, in all of the NFL. Devin White will not be traveling for this game with an ankle injury. I believe for the Packers, it's just Aaron Mosby will not be there. But, of course, you have, injuries to, A.J. Dillon. He's on IR with a neck injury. Jonathan Ford, he's on the designated to return list with a calf injury. When it comes to the Eagles, you got guys like James Bradbury, though. Bradbury kind of already lost his starting spot. Who else do they got there on the IR? Sidney Brown, he's coming back from the ACL injury, so this is going to be very interesting. This is going to be a very interesting game, and it's hard to not lean with the Eagles, just again, with a very talent-rich roster. I know you go back to the playoffs, right? And entering the playoffs, these were two teams trending very different ways. Very different ways. As you had the Packers entering the playoffs pretty hot. You had the Eagles entering the playoffs pretty cold. What happened? One flopped in the first round. The other did not. The other didn't. They came out and they just utterly demolished the Cowboys. So it's gonna be tough. I love Josh Jacobs for this backfield. I think that's a hot player for fantasy behind that offensive line. But I do think I lean Eagles here. Maybe Packers +3. I definitely would just make this a money line game. If you were to go the Eagles, don't take that -3. Could end up being a close game, but Packers +3 seems nice. And I don't know, man. Week 1, teams typically come out maybe a bit slow. I don't know if it's going to be a bit more hotter, more feistier in Brazil. So that 48.5 seems pretty high, but kind of is what it is. I will give out fantasy advice. Jeb, leave your leave it in the comment section, and we're gonna get to a portion where I'll address the comments. But right here, I do want to give a shout out to Underdog Fantasy, just because, hey, the NFL season, it's starting, it's here. Are you ready for the fantasy season? I could tell you, Underdog, they're ready for the fantasy and the bet-in season. They got a lot going on in the way of specials. Like, you could take a Travis Kelce free pick. That's right, over under 0.5 yards. But they'll be having a variety of different specials available for you during this weekend. It's gonna be a great place. And it's not just the NFL, but they got college too. When you use promo code Broshmo, when you sign up, they will match that first deposit up to $250. Check the link in the description to start your betting journey here in week 1 of the NFL. But let's keep this sucker rolling. Let's keep this sucker going. We got the Jags taking on the Miami Dolphins. First and foremost, fins up, baby. Fins up. Fins up. Dolphins fan right here. Dolphins are a -3.5 point favorites. The over-under is also set at 48.5. The Dolphins, they started last year off pretty darn hot. I think it was either 2 or 3 games into the season. They had that 70-point burger on the Broncos. They're coming in relatively healthy. Well, that's not true. I mean, just take a look at all these players for the Dolphins that will be probably missing not just the first part of the season, but obviously this game as well. As the Dolphins will be down Isaiah Wynn. He's on the pup with a quad injury. River Craycraft, he's on the designated to return with a upper body injury. You got Odell. He's coming back from minor surgery, so he's on the pup. You have Bradley Chubb. He's on the pup, coming back from that ACL injury he had late last season. The Dolphins are hurt. They're hurt, but they're a very talented team. I think they're going to be able to move the ball well. Maybe the Jags take a couple of games to get going, especially in a new defensive front with Ryan Nielsen. New coverage scheme with Ryan Nielsen. We did see the Jags, I think, start last year relatively slow. They heated up, and then they just, kind of went like 1-5, 1-6 down the stretch. I think it was 1-5. But the Jags is kind of make a break year, right? For Doug Peterson. We'll see. But it's hard to bet against the Dolphins in home in that Miami Heat. I don't like taking them +3.5. That's actually a pretty large spread in the NFL if you're going to take the favorite. So I would stay away from taking the favorite there for Miami, but or taking the points there for Miami, but I will take Miami to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta 3.5 point favorite. Over-unders 41.5. That sounds about right for a Steelers game. I don't care if it's Arthur Smith there now as the OC. I don't know what's going on. Well, we do know what's going on at quarterback. I just don't like it. They're going to start Russell Wilson. You got Justin Fields for the year. How about you just let that guy loose, see what you got, and see if he's worth keeping? Why are you just going to go with the vet? It's not like Russell Wilson offers you a ton of upside. He may have a much safer floor than Justin Fields, but that's not you don't have your future in Russell Wilson, and you know that the floor, or at least the ceiling, is relatively limited. When it comes to the injuries in this game, Steelers will be without Isaac Samalu because of a pectoral injury. Nate Herbig is on the IR with a shoulder injury. Obviously, Cameron Sutton, he's suspended for the first 8 games of the year. Excuse me. Cole Holcomb is on the pup, coming back from that knee injury last year. When it comes to the Falcons, you had Rondale Moore go down to a season-ending injury. Braylon Trice go down to a season-ending injury. DeMarco Helms is on the designated to return list with an ankle injury, but they signed Justin Simmons, so you're probably not too worried about that. I feel like this is a Falcons revenge game. It's at home. You're facing Arthur Smith. Yeah, you're probably gonna be like, yeah, no, screw this guy. He set us back last year. We had so much talent. We could never figure out the quarterback position, but now we got Kirk Cousins. Let's come in this game and show out. Steeler defense still hella good. Hard to go with the Steelers in this matchup. I'm not going to be going with Atlanta -3.5. I would just put them on the money line. The 41.5 over under, though. Dare I say the under, but still, that's a pretty low total to have to bet on. Maybe you steer clear from that, but I will ride with the Falcons. Next, we got the Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals taking on the Buffalo Bills. Over under is 48.5. You also have Buffalo 6.5 point favorite. That's a lot of points, but it's well warranted. Buffalo, typically a good team. We have seen Buffalo struggle in the earlier parts of the year to have to turn it up down the stretch, but now you get a full year of Joe Brady as the OC rather than him having to take over for Ken Dorsey halfway through the season. When it comes to injuries, you got Buffalo with outside of Matt Milano, who's on the designated to return list with a bicep injury. It's not too bad for Buffalo. Then again, we'll see their injury report day of. When it comes to the Cardinals, you got Zay Jones being suspended for 5 games. That's kind of what it is. But I think you look at the edge talent. BJ Ojolari, he's gone with a knee injury. Darius Robinson, he's on the designated to return list with a calf injury. My boy Elijah Jones, he's on IR with a heel, but he wasn't going to be starting anyway. It's hard to bet. It's hard to go with the Cardinals in this. It could be an offensive showdown, but I do believe more in the Bills' defense in this matchup. Obviously, I think Arizona's defense might just lay down. I don't have a lot of faith in their ability to not just get pressure, but to make stops in the run game. It's like, oh man, they invested in guys like Belon Nichols and Jones. And it's like, no, those are like rotation players at best, and both had difficulties stopping the run last year. I want no part of Arizona. Like, they're going to have to win shootouts, and that's just going to be tough against Josh Allen unless Josh Allen just puts the ball in harm's way. And mind you, when Joe Brady took over this offense, this team may kind of emphasized, hey, Josh Allen, we're going to try to be more conservative when it comes to you throwing the ball. We still want you taking your shots here and there, but let's try to mitigate those arm punts and whatnot. And for the most part, they did a relatively good job during that stretch with Joe Brady and basically just reeling back on the turnover-worthy throws when it came to Josh Allen. I know a lot of people, they look at that interception number, and they look at, even his turnover-worthy play number was pretty high last year. But over the last course of the season, it really was a night and day. But yeah, it's hard to go against the Bills here. I do think Cardinals, it's going to be tough sledding. They're going to have to win shootouts to win games this year. That offense can. It certainly can. Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison's probably one of my favorite stacks in fantasy if you can get it. It definitely is. I know people are going to be questioning about like Josh Allen. Who's he going to throw to? Like Dalton Kincaid is still there. I imagine Keon Coleman is potentially going to be a big part of this offense. Khalil Herbert, him and Allen kind of established a connection late last season. So I'm a little less worried. Like James Cook was a big emphasis, a big cog in this offense for Joe Brady, and I think that'll be the case here. I think he's probably going to have a big game against the Cardinals. So yeah, I'm going Cardinals. I wouldn't go Buffalo minus 6.5. That's just such a big number. And here's my game of the week. This may surprise some folks. Tennessee versus Chicago. I'm just excited to see what the Titans look like offensively. Will Levis there with Brian Callahan. And then obviously you get the debut of Caleb Williams. There's just a lot of fun to be had in this game. Like the fun level is set to 11. That's how fun I think this game has the chance to be. It's at Soldier. Currently, the Bears are 4.5 point favorites. You got the over and under at 44.5. And like, to me, this is a toss-up game. It truly, truly is. But if you were going to ask me to bet, I think I would take Titans plus 4.5, like in a heartbeat. When it comes to injuries, you got guys like Kyle Phillips. He's never healthy. He is on the IR with a hamstring injury. You got some injuries to the linebacking core with like Cedric Gray. He's on the designated to return list with a shoulder injury. You also have TK McLennan on the IR with a toe injury. So nothing too terrible there. When it comes to the Bears, Larry Borom, the backup tackle, he's on the designated to return list with an ankle injury. And honestly, that's about it. You got like a rotation edge rusher in Jacob Martin, also on the IR, designated to return list with the toe injury. But yeah, man, I would lean the Titans plus 4.5. Over or under, want to touch that just because you're working with a lot of interesting variables here, whether it's the just again you got Caleb Williams, Shane Waldron, new OC, new look Bears offensively. Then you obviously have the new look Titans offensively with Brian Callahan. You're gonna have a new look defense with the Titans with Denard there. So it's gonna be very fascinating. The Titans did make some additions late in the year with like bringing in Jamal Adams, bringing in Quandre Diggs. Not that those guys were trending the right direction. Wait, did they bring in both? Let me just confirm that. I was like, did they bring in both Seattle guys? That's kind of interesting. Or I know they brought in Jamal, but I think Diggs is on this team as well. Like now that I say that out loud, my confidence just falls off a cliff. It is Diggs. They did bring in both. Okay, I thought I remembered that correctly. My heart wants to lean Bears because again, I mean, I loved like Caleb Williams. I loved Romaduze during the draft process. I think they've done a lot to surround Caleb with talent. But yeah, I would probably lean Bears if you're going to ask me who would win this game, but I would take Titans plus 4.5. Sorry, not sorry. New England Patriots take on the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals are a 7.5 point favorite. Yep, that makes sense. Patriots fresh off of trading Matt Judon and fresh off of calling Jacoby Brissett the starter, even though Mayo was like, yeah, no, Drake May looked definitely outplayed Brissett, but we're gonna go with the vet, which makes sense if you're not trying to hurt your quarterback's confidence. You don't feel like you want your offensive line to at least get a little bit of a groove before you throw your rookie in there to get blasted and annihilated. So I get that. I think that's all fair. Joe Burrow coming back after the Bengals had a disappointing year, 9-8, disappointing. Yeah, I mean, no, for how bad the defense was last year, for not having Joe Burrow, for T. Higgins having injuries, to go 9-8 is just a testament to how good this coaching staff is for the Cincinnati Bengals. If we're going to talk some of the injuries, the third string running back there, and Chris Evans for the Bengals, he's on IR with a leg injury. I guess you could say like you got some of your rookie and second year players, and like McKinley Jackson, he's on IR with a knee injury. Miles Murphy, he's on the designated to return list with a knee injury. So a couple of those there for the Bengals. When it comes to the Patriots, Kendrick Bourne is on the pup with a knee injury. That's something to definitely look out for, because I'm kind of excited to see Javon Brisker. Or yes, Javon Britt. Am I? Yes, maybe. Now that I say these names out loud, do they make sense? I loved this cat, the rookie coming out of Central Florida. He big, he fast. He big, he fast. He established a connection with May early in preseason. Baker. Where did I get Brisker from? Regardless, Javon Baker. Currently, the starters are listed out as Osborne and Thornton. Blah. Blah. Dude, just throw the rookie wide receivers out there and Jalen Polk and Baker. Come on, what are we doing? Cole Strange is on the pup with the knee injury. Sion Takitaki, the linebacker, he's on the pup with a knee injury. Christian Barmore's dealing with blood clots, so he's on the non-football injury list. Marte Mapu, the kind of the hybrid, the safety slash linebacker, he is on the designated to return list with an undisclosed injury. So there are a few injuries there for the Patriots. Obviously, I'm taking the Bengals in this game. The question is, do you like that 7.5 number? That's a big number. And the Bengals should clear that. You would think the Bengals would want to come out and make a statement after last season. Though, notably, the Bengals are another team who notably struggles in their season openers. I think they'll be fine in this case. The Patriots, I think, will probably end up being one of the worst teams in the league. Spoiler for my power rankings. But over and under is at 40.5. I feel like the Bengals are going to have to do a lot just to cover it from the Patriots end there. Texans versus Colts. This is my my other game of the week here. Much better than you. I guess you would say that Titans Bears, but Texans are traveling to Lucas Oil. They're currently a minus 3.5 point favorite. Over under is 48.5. They're expecting a lot of points in this showdown. And for me, this is such a toss-up. We're going to get to see Anthony Richardson after we had a very small sample size of him last year because of the injury, the shoulder injury. So I'm very excited for that. Obviously, everyone's hyped up about the Houston Texans. I could tell when I did my deep dive video. Texans fans, they're done with being a bad team, and they don't like it when you say that their team may or may not underperform, or at least to the degree that some fans have them at. Like, I truthfully believe like the Texans could be a better team than last year and still have 10 wins. I have them having like one of the toughest schedules in all of football. I think I have them with the third or fourth hardest schedule in the NFL. So I truly believe that this team could probably win 10 games and still win the division and still make the playoffs and make a run in said playoffs. Like, they're a good team. It's just, I feel like you can't put your expectations for the Texans based on win total. Not with how tough the schedule is. My problem here might be with the run game for the Texans. Like, D'Amico's good at protecting his defense from the run. I mean, we're going to see a lot of cover 3 there. And cover 3 by virtue just does a good job stopping the run because you're stacking the box. But I didn't think they did a solid enough job of bringing the necessary horses there on the defensive interior. But I will say, this team's going to rush the passer hella good. They're going to do a great job rushing the passer. Truthfully are. Oh, hold on here. Oh no, Kyle Pitts dealing with a hamstring injury. We'll see. Hold up here, guys. Let me just make sure I am still streaming. Okay. For a minute there, it said I wasn't live. Okay, just had to make sure. All right. Technical difficulty averted. But I think the Colts could take advantage of potentially of the run. But again, I do believe in the mic is muted. No, we had a little technical difficulty. The mic should be A-okay. We had the stream go down for a second. So we should be good now. We should be good now. If not, you know what? I'll give a quick second just to be sure, and I'll answer some of the chat just to be sure. The internet's all good here. But let's answer some of these fantasy questions. So, should I trade Puka for Jamar Chase? No, in a standard redraft league. No, don't be worried about Jamar. If he misses one game with the contract dispute, I won't worry about that. Jeb, I truthfully won't worry about that. We saw with Chris Jones last year. After 1 week, Chiefs got that deal done. They'll figure it out. We got Chris. As a Colts fan, bet the Texans. Colts don't win week 1, LOL. That's fair. All right. Anywho, I think the Colts have a good chance at potentially attacking the run game here, though. Again, D'Amico does such a good job at defending the run. And I mean, they got very quality players. They're going to be able to rush the passer. The question is, what will this offense for the Colts look like at full strength now with Jonathan Taylor, with Anthony Richardson, Stain Shiken, with the full offseason to just imprint his vision, his scheme on this offense. Let's go ahead. Let's see. It makes me excited. It makes me all warm inside. I can't wait for it. But I mean, this is a toss-up. I couldn't go either way. I wouldn't bet this game whatsoever. Even the 48.5 seems like a lot of points. It does make me scared. All right, we got Matthew. I got a dynasty offer. I would trade Marvin for GW. Who the hell is GW? And Chase Brown. I don't know who GW is. You're gonna have to write that one out for me, bruh. I'm George Washington, Garrett Wilson. Okay, that makes sense. Marv? No, I would ride with Marv. I don't think Chase Brown's worth it. Like, there's a chance maybe Chase Brown ends up being the lead back there for Cincinnati with Zach Moss. I'd rather not roll that dice. Garrett Wilson, yeah, Garrett Wilson's gonna be good, but I'm gonna go with Marv. I would stick with Marv. I just would. All right, move. Oh, okay, I'm gonna answer one more question, and then I'm gonna keep this sucker moving. Connor is running back 2. Godwin in the flex. Thoughts? I mean, seems fine. James Conner is a very good running back too. Godwin being your third wide receiver is solid. You took the offer. You're a Jets fan. Okay, then. Well, I mean, I don't know why you asked me, Matthew. I don't know why you asked for my advice. I don't think Chase will be running back 1 out of the get-go, and they might use him more as the explosive back, while Zach Moss will be more down to down. All right, moving on. Panthers, Saints. Oh my gosh, is this a game of the week? Saints 4-point favorites. It's at the Caesars Superdome. I still can't get used to that. Oh, I don't love that. Regardless, over-under is 41.5. I'm very curious because, like, Canal seems very excited with Bryce Young's progress. I'm a Bryce Young believer. He was my top quarterback in the 2023 NFL draft. And that's not a knock on CJ Stroud. Stroud was QB2. Stroud was my third overall prospect on my big board. So obviously, I thought the world of Stroud, but I also thought the world of Bryce Young. So I'm excited to see what the offense will look like. I'm excited to see how he has progressed since, well, last year's debacle. See what, because we know Canals, we know his work. We saw what he did with Baker last year. So, I mean, there's reason to be optimistic. There's reason to be excited if you're a Carolina Panthers fan, and especially against a Saints team that it's just hard to believe in. You will look at them and you're like, golly. Yeah, this reeks of mediocre. We are a mediocre team. When it comes to the injuries, Kendra Miller, he's on the designated return with a hamstring injury. Ryan Ramczyk, he's on the IR with a knee injury. And then defensively, I mean, you got Tanoa, who's on the pup with an Achilles injury. When it comes to the Panthers, obviously Brooks starts on the pup. He's on the non-football injury list, recovering from the ACL he suffered in college. Defensively, Panthers do have a lot, and I mean a lot, of injuries. Like DJ Wonham's on the pup with a quad. You got Crumedy, he's on IR with an ankle. Barno, he's on the pup with a knee injury. Dane Jackson's on the designated to return list with a hamstring injury. Yeah, Lee, that's a hell lot of injury. I mean, the whole Dane Jackson injury is why they would go out and get Michael Jackson. Hee hee. But that Saints defense is too good. Like, you may not believe in Dennis Allen as a head coach, but he's a hell of a good DC. That's going to be a very good defense. I think that's going to make for a tough matchup for the Panthers. At least I have faith that the Saints offense under Kubiak will do enough to win this game at home. So I would ride the Saints. I would just throw them on the money line. Don't take the Saints in points. That's just silly. Minnesota Vikings take on the New York Giants. Golly, this is a game that I really don't want to see. Has there been this looks like a spread that has had a lot of movement. This looks like a line that has had a lot of movement, whether it's gone in the way of the Giants or in this case, the Vikings. So Minnesota, they're a 1.5 point favorite. The over-under is at 41.5. And I'm going to be honest, I'm taking the under in that game. I truthfully am going to take the under in that game. I could tell you from an injury standpoint, the Giants, really nothing of consequence coming into this game in terms of injuries. When it comes to the Minnesota Vikings, obviously, J.J. McCarthy, knee injury, done for the season. You didn't expect him to play this year anyway. TJ Hawkinson, he's on the pup, coming back from the knee injury. Dalton Reisner, he's on the designated to return list with an undisclosed injury. So, two big injuries right there for starters, obviously. Defensively, you have Mekhi Blackman. He's on IR with a knee injury. They do sign Stephon Gilmore. That's kind of huge. But I kind of lean with the Giants in this. And if I'm taking Giants, I might as well take them at plus 1.5 just so no shenanigans go down with maybe like a field goal to win it by 1 or a field goal to lose it by 1 and whatnot, or 2 or whatnot. But if anything, I like the under way more than I like picking a team in this matchup. If I had to lean one way, I'd probably lean with the Giants. The Vikings, they've just had a tough run of luck this offseason, unfortunately. Obviously, you also had the tragedy with Kyron Jackson. So, yeah, I'll go with the G-men. Raiders take on the Chargers. Chargers are a 3-point favorite at home. Okay. The Harbaugh hype is real. Over and under is 40.5. Kind of the big question is, how much faith do you have with Herbert and the foot injury, right? That's kind of big, kind of key when it comes to other injuries the Chargers have. I guess notably maybe Chris Rump, but he's a reserve edge player there. He's on IR with a foot injury. Really, it's Justin Herbert and the foot injury. Like, how scared do you feel with that? I would say pretty significantly. I think I like Raiders a lot. +3, +3.5. Like, golly, the Raiders defense should be really good this year with the addition of Christian Wilkins. I like it. I like it a lot. Chargers, they it should be expected that the Chargers will go through some growing pains. Like, the offensive line for the Chargers are gonna get tested. They're gonna get tested because that Raiders defensive line is nasty. Jake Jones, he's a big play machine. Yeah, man, you got to take the Raiders in the points there, like, easy. You got to imagine. You got to imagine that Gardner Minshew could do enough. I mean, look, when Anthony Richardson went down, he was able to help lead the Colts to almost a playoff berth. So I think he'll do enough in this game. We'll see Zamir White, and I mean, this defense, I mean, I think it might take a little bit for them to flip it, flip this thing on its head, because they were very bad last year. I don't want to say the defense is just now, oh, watch out, it's much improved after last season. Here we go. No, they were very bad against the run. They were very bad in the secondary. They've made some additions, but still, I don't think it's enough. And if you're gonna have a hobbled Herbert, you gotta go with the Raiders, man. You gotta go with the Raiders. Denver Broncos take on the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks are a 6-point favorite. Oh no. I feel like I'm gonna take Denver +6.5. I feel like I want to bet that up to Denver +7.5, just in case they lose by a touchdown. Over and under is 41.5. Let's take a quick look at potential at least the injuries in this game before I just go out there and say, oh yeah, take Denver +7.5. Again, guys, I would bet that up to 7.5. If you were gonna make a call, because I mean, you have the Seahawks, new head coach, great head coach. Gotta imagine the defense will be really fun under Mike McDonald. I got questions about the offense. Ryan Grubb, he's a guy that I mean doesn't have a lot of experience in the NFL. Some would say any experience in the NFL, coaching in the college ranks. So when it comes to Denver, really no injuries of note. Drew Sanders at linebacker, because he's gone. Well, they have him on the pup, but I think it's probably possible he's not playing this year because of the Achilles injury. But he was just someone that was like, let's see how he's progressed. He was a pick you really liked. Grubb was a beast in college. And then when it comes to the Seahawks, you got Abraham Lucas on the pup with the knee injury. Defensively, you got an MCL sprain with Nwosu. Jedrick Reed, who was a very good special teamer for him last year. He's on the pup with the knee injury. Yeah, I actually really like Denver plus, again, 7.5. I would bet that up. If you were going to ask me who I would go for in this game, probably the Seattle Seahawks. But I like Denver at that spread. That's kind of the jam here. Bo Nix, just play mistake-free football, which is kind of a tall order to ask going against a Mike McDonald defense. But if he can play mistake-free football, then I think Denver should do enough to stay in this game. Like, I get it. It's at the 12th man, but I think low key, I actually might go make that bet. I might go make that bet. We got the Dallas Cowboys taking on the Cleveland Browns. Browns are a 2.5 point favorite. Over under is 40.5. When it comes to injuries this game, because again, it's always important to point that out. Who are the significant parts that this team will be without? And when it comes to the Cleveland, obviously Nick Chubb, he's on the pup with the knee injury, had the devastating knee injury last year. Michael Dunn, probably one of the better backups in the NFL. He's on the NFL or non-football injury, recovering from last year's injury, the calf. So he won't be active for this game. Mike Hall Jr. is on the exempt list because he's potentially a terrible human being. When it comes to Dallas, they obviously got the bigger hit in Deron Bland, he's on the designated to return list with a foot injury. You had Sam Williams tears ACL early into training camp. He's gone for the year. Maybe if you want to talk about Chuma Doga with the toe injury, he was a very good swing tackle, solid enough backup. He's on IR with the toe injury. Like, the question is, does Bland make that big of a difference for me to go with the Browns? And I think he does. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Dak CD stack. Probably the best stack in the NFL. It's up there with Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown, but one of the best stacks in the NFL. But offensively, against this defense, like, the Browns are such a nightmare defense. When it comes to Jim Schwartz, he does such a wonderful job there. They basically returned the same defense from last year. And you got to imagine Deshaun Watson with Deron Bland not there. Maybe you don't have to worry about the pick six. Perhaps. I think the offensive line for the Browns could do enough to protect Watson. He now has a shiny new toy in Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, you got to lean the Browns here. I want to take the points, though, at -2.5. If I would just stick with Browns on the money line. Over and under being 40.5. I feel like they probably go over that total. Because I think the Cowboys, they're still going to manage to score and score well. It's just, Browns defense kind of good. Like, it should be in that ballpark where it's like a 24-17 game, 24-20 game. So they should clear that 4.5. Okay, Washington Commanders taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bucks are a -3.5. I'd be willing to take Tampa Bay -3. I like that. We got the over-under at 43.5 when it comes to injuries, guys who are going to miss this game. Let's go to Washington first. Then we'll hit up Tampa Bay. Washington's injuries include Ricky Stromberg, backup center, undisclosed on IR. That's probably the biggest injury there. Not that he was going to see the field at all, just had to mention him. The Buccaneers, you got Suopeta. He's on IR with the ACL injury. He's gone. So it's going to be, what, Breedson? Ugh, I hate that at guard. I hate that at that left guard spot. Like, Cody Mock, he better step up huge, man. Because I think left guard is a huge weakness. Huge, huge, huge. But also the Commanders, this is a team that, let's be honest, this team's going to be in rebuild. They may have some fine players on the squad, but I mean, give this team a chance to kind of like find themselves early in the season. There's going to be those bumps and lumps. When it comes to the offense, they have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new starters. When it comes to the defense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new starters. So you're replacing over half of both your offense and defense. Yeah, let this team get a chance to kind of like gel So yeah, I think the Bucks. It's at home. It's kind of an easy take here. -3. I think I'm willing to take that too. Okay, this might really be the game of the week. Rams versus Lions. Sunday night football. Yeah, it ought to be really good. Lions are 3.5 point favorites. It is at Ford Field. Over under 50.5. That's probably the highest over under this whole darn week. And man, let's take a quick gander at the injuries again. Kind of dictates where I may want to go in this game because I like both these teams very much. Obviously, Rams, the big thing, the big missing link for the Rams is, well, Aaron Donald retired. That's a huge hit. He's one of the best of all time. But also you got Alaric Jackson serving a 2-game suspension. Tyler Higbee is on the pup with the knee injury he suffered late last year. When it comes to, I mean, honestly, you look at the secondary, you're really going to have to rely on Trey White to stay healthy, which he's kind of been unable to the last few years because they don't have Darian Kendrick. He's on IR with a knee injury. Trey Tomlinson, he's on IR, undisclosed. So you kind of hoping for the Rams to be able to stay healthy at corner in that regard. When it comes to Detroit and their injuries, it's really backup level players. You move to the defense, it's backup level players. I mean, of course, you got John Kaminsky. He's on IR, designated to return. Broderick Martin, he has a hyperextension in the knee. He's designated to return later on. Manuel Mosley, pectoral, designated to return. But none of those guys were starters for this squad. I think you gotta lean Lions. Like, I get it. The Rams, what? They added Jared Verse. We got Braden Fisk. Byron Young looked really good last year. Kobe Turner looked really good last year. Still, Aaron Donald, that's kind of a big hit. The Lions, I think they're going to be able to run their offense and run it efficiently and effectively. The question is, can the Rams keep up? Which they certainly can. Kyron Williams, back there returning punts now and kicks. But Kyron Williams behind that offensive line, it's going to be really good. That offensive line was a really good run blocking unit last year. Who will be the starter at left tackle with Alaric Jackson missing the first couple of games? As it looks like it's, oh yeah, Nope Boom. Ooh, that could be a disaster when it comes to the pass blocking. But yeah, no, I think obviously you look at Puka, you look at a healthy Cooper Kupp. Demarcus Robinson was good for this team last year. Tutu Atwell showed out at moments as kind of this gadget threat. Like the Rams are going to be able to keep up. I just think in the long run, the Lions defensively, maybe they'll make that big turnover. Kirby Joseph, he has a knack for doing that. You got to feel like they'll probably go over. The over under at 50.5. Maybe this game ends up being like 24-27, 24-28. So that puts it like kind of right on the line. But I lean Lions in this game. Let's move on to the Monday night game. As we got the Jets taking on the San Francisco 49ers. Aaron Rodgers gets to meet the man who hurt him in Leonard Floyd. Niners are a 4.5 point favorite. This is at Santa Clara. Over under is 43.5. The Trent Williams contract dispute, it's over. They have negotiated on a new deal. You'll love to see it. So he will be playing this week. That's great. He is probably the best. I know he's old, but he is still, in my opinion, the best tackle in all of football right now. When it comes to injuries, really, it's not an injury for the Jets. It's the contract talk with Hassan Reddick. They don't want to give him a new deal. He wants traded out of there. I don't know. That's going to be very fascinating. When it comes to the Niners, obviously Elijah Mitchell, he's out he's out on the IR with a hamstring injury. Feliciano, he's designated to return with a knee injury, though I think they were already going with Dominic Pooney at that right guard spot. Ricky Pearsall, obviously, if you've been living under a rock, he got shot this past weekend. He's okay, but he is on the non-football injury list. Defense, Dre Greenlaw coming back from the Achilles he suffered in the Super Bowl. He's on the pup. Drake Jackson, he's on the pup with a knee injury. Aubrey Thomas, he's on the designated to return with a forearm injury, but none of those guys, outside of Greenlaw, obviously, are starters. But you replace Greenlaw with another very good linebacker in Devondre Campbell, who's going to be able to fill in while Greenlaw gets healthy. Man, with this being Aaron Rodgers' first showing and not being at home, you got to go with the Niners. You got to go with the Niners. Leonard Floyd's going to be there, scaring Aaron Rodgers. I know that the offensive line is significantly better with the additions of Tyron Smith, Morgan Moses, Josh Simpson. But the Niners are going to be able to get home eventually. They do a good job at figuring out and finding out how to get pressure. So I'm not too worried about that. It's not like Aaron Rodgers can move like he used to. Not saying he's a statue in the pocket just yet. But at some point, that pressure will hit home. Let's see how Aaron handles that. He's going to be able to get the ball off to his playmakers in Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall. He was kind of a devastating receiving option last year. So, I mean, again, this is home for the Niners. Niners started out hot last year. I'm going to roll with the Niners. Should be a very interesting game there, though. All right, let's go to the chat before we hit up my power rankings. As scroll up here for a bit. Oh man, I should have really told y'all to at Broshmo. That way I can focus on those comments rather than have to go through all this. To know Mike, the reason I asked last year for advice is because I keep winning. Nice. We got GM Waltz predicts Lawrence McCutcheon will get over 100 rushing yards. I don't know about that one. Oh, okay, we're gonna pretend like Verse and Fisk, by the way, which you misspelled. Replace Aaron Donald? Get out of here. That's nonsense, dude. Yeah, these two rookies will replace Aaron Donald. Okay. Okay. Nintendo Mike, hey, easy breezy. Detroit's wide receiver room is not that deep. I do agree. But the thing is, Walt, with them is they have other pass catching options. Because they did just trade Ernest Jones, their best linebacker, the Rams. So it's like, who's going to be like, you have Sam Laporta, you have Jahmyr Gibbs, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown. Khalif Raymond, he has showed up at times for this team. Jameson Williams, will he take that next jump? Like, even if we discount those last two names at wide receiver, let's not pretend like they don't have weapons. Like Sam Laporta set in tight end records last year. Gibbs, utterly explosive. Let's not pretend like there are no weapons there. All right. We're going to be moving on to the next segment here, which is the final segment, actually. It's going to be my power rankings to start the year. So let's let me switch screens here. All right, let's do it. Power rankings. That's right. Reek. Power rankings. Week 1 of the NFL starts tomorrow. Wow, why are words difficult, guys? Why are words difficult? Power rankings. Week 1 starts mañana, tomorrow. So let's go ahead and let's rank, because these rankings will not change throughout the year. They are 100% correct, except for when they're not. And that's why we adjust them accordingly throughout the season. Let's go ahead and get this sucker started so I can go ahead and go over, essentially, my tiers. Because, of course, we got bottom of the league. That's the worst of the worst. Teams whose focus isn't exactly going to be on making the playoffs this year, but improving. And then above that, you have your long shots. Teams that are just unlikely. Very, very, very unlikely to make the playoffs. But they can maybe surprise a few teams here and there. Then I have the middle tier. Could be, but unlikely. Teams that'll probably be maybe eliminated in the last few weeks, trying to make that push to the playoffs. Or teams that maybe could surprise and sneak into it. Like, I guess you could consider, like, Houston was kind of that. Like, honestly, going into last season, like, yeah, they got some talent, but they're unlikely to make it. I mean, new head coach, rookie quarterback, and then playoffs. And then they killed Joe Flacco's hopes and dreams. Above that, your playoff contenders, the teams that will actually be vying for the playoffs. Above that, playoff caliber teams that I think are 100% going to make the playoffs. They have a roster built to make the playoffs. And then, of course, your legit Super Bowl contenders, which, I mean, let's just go ahead and put the Chiefs here. Let's just go ahead. Let's put the Chiefs at the top there. Who are we kidding ourselves? This team plays for the postseason. Oh, man. Patrick Mahomes, 3 Super Bowls deep. At least 3 winning Super Bowls. Did have that loss to Tom Brady and such. But let's start at the bottom with the New England Patriots. They drafted Drake May. He's the quarterback of the future, but you did trade away Matthew Judon. This is not to say the defense will be bad, but there are questions with like Christian Barmore having the blood clots. Hopefully he can come back eventually. Don't know if it'll be anytime this year. The offensive line is still a big question mark. You drafted wide receivers. Now it's time to see if someone will step up. Like we could admit that the focus on the Patriots this year is development and not necessarily winning ball games. Right behind the Patriots, I guess I should say in front of, I have the Carolina Panthers. I think we're going to see a lot of progress from the Panthers this year. I'm hoping to see a very good Bryce Young. I'm excited to see what he will look like under Canals, with Canals having a full off season to help develop him. But not only are there enough injuries, but there are enough weaknesses and injury concerns on the defense for me not to really take this team serious as a potential playoff contender or a team that may vie for the playoffs. Because I already got guys like DJ Wonham, Dane Jackson, they're down. JC Horn, he's just an injury waiting to happen. That's what it feels like at this point, at this juncture. So, yeah, Panthers are going to have their lumps and bumps this year, but it's going to look better than it did last year. Right in front of the Carolina Panthers, I got the Minnesota Vikings. Sam Darnold may surprise some people, but I think I'm done pretending like I'm going to be surprised by, did I say Aaron Donald? Sam Darnold. There we go. I'm going to pretend like I'm not going to pretend. I'm done. I'm done. Sam Darnold isn't going to surprise me anymore. He might be an adequate backup at best. I truly believe that. Now, they have the weapons on offense. They have a very solid offensive line, even though Dalton Reiser starting the year on the pup, I believe. But defensively, I still think this team is a hot mess, unfortunately. I mean, Brian Flores, he's gonna do a good job bringing the heat, bringing the pressure, but I think there's still enough notable weaknesses on the defense to keep them as a bottom of the league team. Okay, we got one more team in this category, and that's going to be the Washington Commanders. And hey, there's talent on this squad. I'm just saying, hey, give them time. New coaching staff, new regime, new rookie quarterback, a lot of new players. Like, you're replacing over half of your offensive and defensive starters. Give this team some time to gel and kind of figure out who they are. So that's why they're going to be here at bottom of the league, but they certainly can surprise you and honestly might be closer to that long shot category. Let's go into these long shots to make the playoffs, as I got the Denver Broncos starting off this category. Listen, it could happen. I doubt it happens. Bo Nix, rookie quarterback. I think he's a great fit for Sean Payton, but there's some questions along that offensive line. We could start at center. We could talk about maybe potentially even a tackle. Bowles might be out of here after this year. McGlinchey, he's up there in years, so we'll see. But really, the fear is more on defense. Are they going to be able to consistently get pressure? Will someone kind of step up next to Pat Surtain? Is Vance Joseph a good DC? You know, questions like that. Your typical, your usual. All right. Right above the Denver Broncos, I'm going to have the Danny Dimes led New York Giants. I don't believe in Danny Dimes. This is his last year. Giants fans, I've been saying I told you so for many years now when it came to Daniel Jones. Y'all are hard-headed. You didn't believe me, but look, it's true. It's true. You're going to cut him loose after this season. The defense also will probably look solid this year, but I just don't think this team will be able to do enough offensively to be able to stay in ball games. I just don't think so. I mean, think what you saw, like if you're a college football fan. Think at what you saw with the Georgia Clemson game. Clemson in that ball game at halftime, they're down 6-0. Offense unable to move the football, but the defense playing really good football. And then in the second half, the defense gets gassed because the offense can't do nothing. Turns into a big blowout. I feel like that's probably going to be the Giants this year. Though Malik Neighbors, I think he could save Daniel Jones. He can be Daniel Jones's hero baby. For the sake of Giants fans, I hope not. Okay, right above the Giants, I'm going to have the Arizona Cardinals. I just think defensively, they're long shots. Like, defensively, this team's a mess. I don't think they're good. They're working on things. They've added some good parts, I think, in the cornerback room. They're a little beat up along the defensive line, more so at edge, but I don't believe in the front seven. I'm not there yet. I don't know how this team will consistently get pressure. I feel like the Cardinals are going to have to win a lot of shootouts to win games. That's just not something that's sustainable. That's why they're in this long shot category. Right above the Cardinals, I'm going to have the Tennessee Mayos. That's right, the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis. This year's going to kind of function as a pseudo rookie year for Will Levis under Brian Callahan. Bill, though, coach of the offensive line. So, I mean, I think it's fair to expect some lumps and bumps. Actually, especially with the defense, they're going to be finding their identity. They got some good players there, but part of me feels like I don't know how they're going to get adequate pressure game in, game out with Denard there as the DC. Is this a team that's going to not blitz as much? Because that's what we saw in Baltimore, though they did blitz a ton situationally on third down. But on early downs, is this defensive line, is this unit good enough to get pressure by themselves consistently? I have doubts there, so I do consider them long shots. I only have one more team in this category, and it is the Los Angeles Chargers. Justin Herbert with the foot injury does concern me a bit. The defense, will it be better? It will be better because it was pretty bad last year. Will it be that much better? We'll see. We'll see. I still think it's a work in progress, especially when you get to like the secondary. They have a lot of youth at linebacker. Offensively, again, really, it's just Herbert. That's kind of my big concern there with the foot injury. So that puts them in the long shot category. Let's move to this could be, but unlikely to make the playoffs. And we're going to start with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Listen, defensively, great. Offensive line, bit of a question. You're going to have a lot of rookies, a lot of rookie and second-year players along that offensive line. So it's real back. It might not be as bad as last year's, which last year's was kind of up and down. More down than up, though. If anything, I think it might be similar to last year's, as those guys just kind of learn and just get used to playing at an NFL pace, at NFL speed. Russell Wilson, Mr. Limited. Listen, I mean, he might be good enough to keep you in ball games. I don't know if he's good enough to win you ball games. I would be like, hey, let's see Justin Fields. You got him on a 1-year deal. Like, what the hell are we doing here? You got him on a 1-year deal. See what you got. Is he someone you're going to sign long term? Not even necessarily long term, but bring back? Like, what the heck are we doing here? I would take him in a heartbeat. I really, really would. Over Russell Wilson, who gives you maybe a higher floor, but a much, much lower ceiling. So that's why they're in this could be, but unlikely category. Right above them, I have the New Orleans Saints. Let's be honest, the Saints are just mid as hell. They're mid. Defense will be great. Dennis Allen, great defensive coordinator. Not so great head coach. Kubiak, what can he do with the offense? I don't know. This team has a Derek Carr stink on it right now. Right above the Saints, I'm going to have the Las Vegas Raiders. I think we're going to see much improvement with this squad, but I don't know. Gardner Minshew, he's going to be good enough to keep this team in playoff contention, but I don't know if they're going to be legitimate contenders. They might be more on the outside looking in, playing spoiler. So, like, the offense is going to have its question marks. It's going to have question marks with Gardner Minshew at the helm. Obviously, they don't have their quarterback in the future, I think, on the roster currently. The defense is going to be very good, though, for the Raiders. They're going to make some plays. All right, above them, I'm going to have the Chicago Bears. Rookie quarterback, Shane Waldron, first year as the OC here for the Bears. Let's just kind of wait and see. I think we're going to see much more promise than we have in a long time when it comes to the Bears. But they're not quite playoff contenders just yet. I think defensively they still have maybe some things to work out. Though this team was very good with Montez Sweat. When they made that trade last year, we saw good things from that Florida rookie last year, Gervin Dexter. There we go. As he kind of turned it on in the second half of the season. But, I mean, who's rushing opposite of Sweat? Is it Walker? Some people are going to be like Austin Booker, but he's a 4th-round rookie. I mean, he might, but I wouldn't put my eggs in that, all my eggs in that basket quite yet. So, I mean, hey, I think it's going to be better than it was in years past, but there still will be some bumps and lumps. My final team here is going to be the Seattle Seahawks, another team that I think could play spoiler, another team that could be in that playoff contention, maybe up until the last week or two of the season. I like Geno Smith, man. He's a good, really good NFL quarterback. I'm just very interested to see what this Grub offense may look like. I still think that there needs to be some additions along that offensive line. It's not offensive line, still a lot of question marks. Defensively, this team will be fun defensively with Mike McDonald at the helm. But I don't know, man. Just one reason or another, I'm not buying into it, and I think a lot of it has to do with that offensive line for the Seahawks. Let's move on to these legitimate playoff contenders. We're gonna start with the Los Angeles Rams. I mean, honestly, you could basically have it like this, like either or. I think these are going to be the two teams vying for a playoff spot. But I do lean the Rams. Better offensive line. I think there's just honestly, I like Matthew Stafford better as a quarterback. The weapons are arguably better. The pass catchers, I mean, Cooper Kupp, Puka, and then you look DK, Tyler Lockett, JSN. Like, I think I'd ride with Puka and Cooper Kupp. Defensively, you probably lean Seattle there just because of Mike McDonald and what he can do, but I don't know, man. Part of me likes a little bit of the weapon. That's not true. I think I like Seattle defensively much better. Like Byron Murphy, I think is going to pop off. Boy, Mafe is trending in the right direction. Devin Witherspoon, stud. So, yeah, that one's a bit of a toss up for me. Honestly, I think now I'm doing this on the fly. I think I'm gonna move Seattle here. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. You let me know in the comment section below. Did I screw up? Do you think this is fair? I think it's fair. All right, let's keep it rolling. Who's in front of the Rams? Well, it's your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, Tampa Bay. Defensively, secondary's got a lot to figure out. We'll see, but I believe in Winfield and I believe in Jameel Dean, one of my favorite corners in the NFL there. The pass rush, we'll see. We'll see. Offensively, I believe in Baker. I believe in Mike Evans. That's a hell of a connection there. The run game, though, is still going to be a question mark. Is Rachaad White going to be just kind of a volume eater for fantasy? Probably. But that guard spot, that left guard spot's kind of wide open with Opeta. Like, I had a lot more faith in Opeta than I did Breedson. I think Breedson's just not that good. Will Cody Mock take that next jump? Like, at least you know you're going to be better with Barton on the interior there. But I do question those two guard spots. Right in front of the Bucks, we got the Indianapolis Colts. Listen, the sample size was too small last year with Anthony Richardson. So, I mean, you could be excited. I think this offense is going to be hella fun with Anthony Richardson, Jonathan Taylor, Shane Steichen. I think it's going to be difficult to stop. But we just don't have proof of that yet. So it's going to be kind of a wait and see. To me, Gus Bradley defenses are always pretty middle of the league. He's definitely not my favorite coordinator in the NFL. But I don't have that big of an ego to call him a bad DC. He's not a bad DC. I think he's a very average, very solid DC. But I mean, is Latu, like, are they going to have enough horses on the defensive line to bring consistent pressure? Because, again, Gus Bradley, I think over the last, 5 years, no one blitzes least than Gus. So, we'll see, but they're legit playoff contenders. They are. And ahead of them is actually the division rival Jacksonville Jaguars. I want to believe in this team so much. Listen, is Doug Peterson and Press Taylor going to open up the offense? Are they going to quit being stupid and predictable with the run game? There's a big reason why Travis Etienne, the second half of the season, really got slowed down because it was like, okay, if they're running, well, it's inside zone, wham, bam, boom. Like, even when they go outside, they're doing it from shotgun, which is not the most advantageous way to run outside zone. We'll see. We'll see offensively. I believe in Trevor Lawrence. He's got fun weapons now, especially Brian Thomas. I'm very excited about. Defensively, there might be a bit of a hiccup in the first part of the season as this team just gets acclimated to Ryan Nielsen. It's going to be playing more of this like 4 guys, hands in the dirt, press, man coverage. But I think this team in the second half of the season, at least this defense, will really turn it on. Because I think Ryan Nielsen, I think he is a great up and coming. Well, I think he's a great DC now, and I think in a couple of years he's going to be a hot name on the head coaching circuit. So I want to believe in the Jags. Again, this is another case where you could flip these two back and forth. Right in front of the Jags, I have the Cleveland Browns. You might be like, what? Cleveland? Playoff contenders? Not a playoff caliber team? You can make a good argument that they're a playoff caliber team. It all depends on Deshaun freaking Watson. Will Deshaun ever be the Deshaun we saw in Houston? I get it. He had the suspension, the 12 or 11 game suspension his first year with Cleveland. And then his second year with Cleveland, he had I think it was the shoulder injury. So we haven't really seen a fair dose of Deshaun Watson. But to be fair, from what we've seen, it has not been encouraging. So that's just kind of the big question mark there. How will it go? Will it be good? We'll see. And man, I got the Buffalo Bills in this category. Bills, I'm a Dolphins fan, so Bills fans are going to think I'm a hater. Oh. And I come to bat for the Bills so much. I remember last year, I refused to move the Bills down my power rankings when they were struggling. People called me a groupie. Oh, you're too high on the Bills. I'm like, no, this team was probably going to be good down the stretch. There's just too much talent. And they ended up being good down the stretch. Oh, man, you're going to have some guys step up to be like the focal point, the playmakers offensively. But do you? Because if you think about this team in the second half of the season, Joe Brady, Stephon Diggs kind of got not like he just wasn't the main go-to guy anymore. Like James Cook became a big focal point, and they definitely spread the ball around a bit more when it came to the passing game. Defensively, there's obviously going to be some questions here. I think it's going to be a solid defense. I don't know if it'll be a great defense, but I think it'll probably be around the middle of the pack. This is a playoff caliber team. But is it? Will we see some regression? I don't know. I'll keep them here, and we'll move them up accordingly as we see them this season. And then I got one more team in this tier being the Atlanta Falcons. Everything about this team screams playoff team. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. Drake London is a hell of a good receiver who now gets a good quarterback. Am I saying he's like a top 10, top 15 receiver in the league? No. But he might be now. We'll see. Kirk Cousins, very good quarterback. We've seen him the last few years with the Vikings make that team a playoff caliber, or at least a playoff contender, which is why they're in the playoff contender. But defensively, they're adding parts like Matt Judon. They're adding parts like Justin Simmons, which screams, hey, Super Bowl window. I got to see it before I believe it. I'm going to leave them in this playoff contender tier. Let's move on to your playoff caliber team, starting with the New York Jets, a team that I tossed and turned. Should I put them here? Should I put them here? Listen, they have one of the best defenses in football. The offensive line, they made some solid additions. Yes, those additions tend to get hurt, but they made some solid additions. Aaron Rodgers is healthy, even if he is the Aaron Rodgers we saw in 2022, which was fine. Like, he had a lot going wrong around him, but he was good enough to lead that Packers team to the playoffs. I know that they didn't make the playoffs, but I don't think that was that was through any fault of his own. Even if he's just that Aaron Rodgers, this is a playoff caliber team. Great weapons in Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. So sign me up. Right ahead of them, I'm gonna have the Dallas Cowboys. There's a lot of questions I have. Like, you got Mike McCarthy, final year of his contract. Dak Prescott, final year of his contract. Mike Zimmer on a 1-year deal. Why does it feel like everything's about to change this upcoming offseason? Why am I more intrigued about how this team's offseason will be rather than how they'll be this regular season? But I'm not going to Dak CD and Dak. They got Micah Parsons. He's deadly, one of the best edge players in the NFL. They'll eventually get Deron Bland back, but they get a healthy Diggs. The defense will be interesting to watch. It'll be fun, I think, to watch with Mike Zimmer there. I think he's a good DC. But I couldn't really push them any further up this list. Right ahead of them, I have the AFC version of the Dallas Cowboys and the Miami Dolphins. Fins up, baby, fins up. If you didn't know, now you know. I'm a big Dolphins fan. Listen, man, offensive line, I still got questions about. I still think there's some significant weaknesses on the offensive line, and I don't worry about them as run blockers. I worry about them as pass protectors. I worry about Tua. But Tua's good enough to where he can mitigate some of the deficiencies along that offensive line. Mike McDaniel, he's good enough to scheme up ways to take pressure off of not just Tua, but that offensive line. The defense, you get Anthony Weaver in here. I don't think it'll look much different from Vic Fangio outside of maybe a bit more blitz heavy on third downs. So defensively, we should be pretty okay. We're getting a healthy Jalen Phillips back. We'll eventually get Bradley Chubb back. I mean, the loss of Christian Wilkinson, that sucks, but kind of is what it is. They're a playoff caliber team, but couldn't put them much higher than that. Right in front of them, I'm going to have the Cincinnati Bengals. I got to see that defense to believe it. Are we going to have a big turnaround? They made a few additions here and there, but they were really bad last year. They lost probably their best pass rusher and run defender on the interior in the form of DJ Reader, but they bring in Chris Jenkins, very good run defender. Sheldon Rankins, solid enough pass rusher. That'll help mitigate some of that. Will we see the secondary play up to snuff, whether it's Dax Hill out there at corner 2 or if it's DJ Turner? We shall see. And then you get healthy Joe Burrow back. Can he stay healthy? You hope so. And then you got the whole Jamar contract dispute happening right now. We'll see. We'll find out. Right for the Bengals, I'm going to have the Houston Texans. I don't think they're a Super Bowl caliber team quite yet. I do think this is a team that they've made some significant additions, but there's still some work to be done. I got questions along the interior of that offensive line. You got Kenyon Green coming back after missing all of last year, but the year prior, that rookie season wasn't that good. He may look good in training camp. Tell me how he is during the regular season, because training camp is sometimes just hype. Shaq Mason's getting up there in years, but probably the most reliable player along that offensive interior. And then Drew Scruggs playing his natural position there at center, but we haven't seen him play center in the NFL in a regular season capacity. So it's fair to have some questions. Defensive interior, I think D'Amico's going to do a good job protecting this team against the run just by virtue of playing a lot of cover 3. But still, that defensive interior leaves a lot to be desired, in my opinion. Listen, this is a good team. This is a playoff caliber team that could make a deep run into the playoffs. I do have a couple. You know what? I have one team. I have one team left in this category, and that team is the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love, he is the real deal. He looked like the real deal last year. The last half, that stretch last season was magical. There's a lot of talent on this team. You get a new DC and Halfley. This team's trending in the right direction to where they're like, okay, this is like, to me, they're borderline Super Bowl contenders. They have the talent to be Super Bowl contenders. Maybe I'm just a little antsy and I want to maybe just see it. And it's like, well, you saw it last season. Ho ho. And it's like, yeah, but maybe I want a bit more than a half of a season eval. Maybe give me a couple of games into the year, and I'll buy into the Super Bowl contenders. But I mean, they're right there. They're right there. Okay, let's go to your Super Bowl contenders. I'm going to start off with the Baltimore Ravens. They were a Chiefs victory. Well, a victory over the Chiefs away from making the Super Bowl. Listen, this team's been good in the regular season. I need to see the postseason success. I need it. That's what this team is missing right now. Are we going to get it this year? Lamar, two-time MVP winner. I want to see this offense come alive in the playoffs. I believe in Mackin. I really do. And honestly, even with Mike McDonald gone, I think Zach Orr, a guy who not only played while Mike McDonald was a positions coach there, but has had chance to be under the learning tree. I think they're going to be okay defensively. I really do. It's just, can they get over that hump? That's the question. All right, right above the Ravens, I have a bunch of NFC teams. I'm going to start with the Philadelphia Eagles. As from a talent standpoint, jack full of it. Ton of talent on this squad. But you got a new OC, a new DC. To be fair, Vic Fangio, fairly familiar with this squad. He was a consultant here in 2022. Let's see how it plays out on the field. They're built to be Super Bowl contenders. They will be in the running when it comes to the NFC. Next, I'm going to have the Detroit Lions. Another team from a talent standpoint. I think they got the guns. I legitimately do. Offensively, this is going to be a fun team. Defensively, will the secondary make that necessary improvement? Will they? Yo, what do you mean they drafted Gary and Arnold and the race straw? They brought in Carlton Davis. Carlton Davis, a man of three extremes. Really good, really bad, really hurt. And sometimes you get all those in a year. I'm just saying, with rookies, you kind of want to wait and see. I think it's fair to be like, let's wait, let's see how the secondary is. Hopefully you can get healthy Marcus Davenport, when healthy. He is a very good player. It's just, unfortunately, that's kind of like far and few between him being healthy and whatnot. This is a good squad. They're going to be competing for the NFC Championship game, along with a team like the Eagles, a team like the Packers, and, of course, your San Francisco 49ers. This team almost won the Super Bowl last year. And if not for the NFL being scripted, they probably would have. I'm joking. Or am I? But this is a good squad, man. Defensively, they're going to be very good. Man, I got questions with the pass rush, but added Malik Collins, very good pass rush and interior player. Leonard Floyd, very a solid, maybe low-end edge too, but this is a team that likes just having the depth on the defensive line, and they have that depth. So I'm not too concerned about the defense. And offensively, they bring back Brandon Ayuk. Yay, he's extended. Trent Williams, yay, he's extended. Brock Purdy, you're next. So it's like they're just running it back with potentially an upgrade along the interior with rookie Dominic Pooney, who's going to be playing there at, I believe, right guard, because Aaron Banks is the left guard. Which, again, it's a rookie, so it's kind of a wait and see. But to be fair, that right guard position was kind of a problem last year until Feliciano took over. So, yeah, I feel like having the Super Bowl runner-ups here at 2, probably the right call. But really, you could really change them out with any of these other NFC teams. But there's my power rankings. I feel like this is fair. I'm relatively positive with when it comes to like playoff contenders, and that could be unlikely. I think these are all like realistically, these are all teams that are going to be vying for the playoffs. And then these long shots, they have a chance to surprise. They really do. But you let me know what you think in the comment section below. How would you have this ranked? I want to hear from you. But if you want more football content, hey, brah, we got draft content on the channel. Of course we do. So check that out. But as always, till next time, it's football, bro. And I'll catch you later. Actually, let me go get some questions. Let me get some of your questions. Let me see if y'all added in the chat. Okay, I got one. I think Jackson Power Johnson will open holes. Yes, but I think he's starting the season banged up, and that's why he's not the starter. He's coming back from injury that he, I think, was suffering during the offseason draft process. All right, I think y'all are just gabbing in the chat. Okay, y'all are gabbing in the chat. That's fine. But that's it for me today. I'm going to pump out one more video for y'all that'll come out a little bit later today, and then you'll have a video on Thursday and Friday. What do I think about Jeff Halfley? I think we're going to see more press, maybe more man coverage. Though, then again, it's not going to look completely the same from college going to the NFL. But he is also a guy that's been a position coach in the NFL. Drew, I did a Packers deep dive video. If you want to go take a look at that, where I go over the coaching staff, not just the DC, but some of the parts under that, like some of the position coaches and whatnot. Where I go into it a little bit deeper in terms of what to expect. But I will catch y'all in the next one. We will be doing 2 watch alongs on Saturday. I should note that. We're going to be doing Texas and Michigan. And then later that day, we're going to do Tennessee, NC State. So I'll see y'all then live. But we'll be having content come out throughout the week. But thanks for hanging out with me. As always, I really do appreciate it. It's always a good, fun time when doing that. I wonder if that's, maybe I shouldn't do that. I hear them. There we go. But regardless, I'll catch y'all later. Boy.